Welcome back to the Police Recruiting Show. As usual, I have with me CEO Doug Larsen, Safeguard Recruiting. Doug, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was excellent. Travis, how about yours?
Man, it came and went, and now we're geared up for Christmas, right? And the only thing I have to get through is my wife is a huge Christmas song fan. So I've got to get past that because I'm not a huge Christmas song fan. How about you?
I'm not either, so I'll avoid your place through the holidays.
Well, I've got a topic. I don't even really know that I'm going to bring this topic, but I've been thinking about this topic, and it really kind of came to the surface. I had a conversation this last week with a recruiter. Now, I'm not going to give the agency. We get calls all the time, Doug, as you know, from different agencies and recruiters. So we don't want to give a specific department, but this is a Midwest department, and it's a department that you wouldn't normally think would have an issue. But the fact this department has an issue tells me a lot of departments have an issue, and they're down 50 or 60 people. And he told me, I'm doing pretty good. We've got this many people going through an academy in the next 12 months. And I said, that's a pretty good number, I thought, for the size of the department. I said, well, what about your attrition, your backing? We talk about the backing all the time. So if you're 40, 50 down, how does that make that up? And he goes, oh, it doesn't. He says, in fact, we'll be down even more at the end of 12 months. But the ironic thing, there's a couple of points I want to make here, Doug, is he seemed pretty pleased, right? Because he was just like, man, we're doing better than most. I'm getting 40, 50 applicants a month, and we're putting, roughly half those through the academy in a year. Now, that's obviously 40, 50 every month, and then in 12 months they're hiring that many. But he couldn't really wrap his head around the fact that, hey, man, you can actually fix this. Because to him, fixing it was trying to stay even, but he's not staying even because he has to pick up 40, 50, 60 people depending on attrition. And what I sense, Doug, is I sense sort of a mentality of there's no hope. I mean, he was a nice guy. He was new to the unit. And as we talk about, there's no entry-level recruiter certification. So we gave him access to our 2-hour seminar. Now, that's on our website. It's a couple $100 a month. And, man, it is, if you're new to recruiting, trust me, that's very important to take because it tells you all the case studies that we've been involved in. As we talk about, Doug, we know how to staff up agencies fully, and we give all that away for a couple $100. And so I gave him access to that, and I was just talking to him, and he was, very encouraging to talk to. But you could tell he's the only recruiter. He's doing everything he can. I mean, he's responsible for backgrounds and applications and everything, and recruiting. He's doing typically what we've done for many years. He's going to a lot of job fairs. He's sending people to the website, and but I got a sense that there's a mentality out there, Doug, that, man, we were never going to really make that number up. So we're just going to try to stay even. Are you hearing kind of the same thing when you talk to recruiters around the country?
Yeah, this comes up an awful lot, Travis, and it's kind of an acceptance of the situation we're in and that we're just going to try and hold our ground and we can't get back to that full staffing level ever. And this is kind of the new norm where it sounds to me like this department's doing a great job with their efforts, but they probably just need a little bit of help with lead generation, name generation to put them enough volume to get back to fully staffed. And that's a common problem around. And a lot of departments just don't have that skill set internally to take those steps to generate enough leads, enough names to be able to fill up their ranks. And we see it quite a bit. And look around, there's a bunch of departments on mandatory overtime right now. And if they took a little bit of that funding and get the right processes in place, they can take big steps towards fixing this issue.
Yeah, I was going to say that, it's not a solution to just stay status quo and just fill your beats with overtime. That's not sustaining. That's going to do a lot of damage to your personnel through time. It may be fine for a few years. People got plenty of Christmas money to spend and they're getting more money on their paycheck, but you're not going to be able to sustain an organization at a high level by continuing to do that. And my fear is, and it was a very encouraging conversation because he had never heard some of the things I'm talking about. He's dove into the website now and he's watching videos and he's really eating this stuff up. And so I'm glad we're doing it. But I just wonder how many are like him out there that have just kind of given up on this idea that we'll ever be fully staffed again. And let's just try to tread water here the best we can. And I want to give people hope that are listening. You can absolutely fully staff your agency. You've done that, Doug. We have seen that time and time again. Now you've got to do some things differently, right? As you talked about, focus in on different items. But I want to tell the audience what I told him, because you may be in this position. So I praised him because I think with just him alone getting 200-300 applications a year and hiring roughly 15% of those in the academy, I think he's doing a phenomenal job. And I said, and I suspect this is kind of the effort that your agency's been doing for the last 10, 20, 30 years. He says, well, absolutely. He goes, I learned from the guy that I came in from, and he learned from the guy before, because some of the concepts we talked about he'd never heard of. And I said, so here's what I would suggest, and I would suggest this to anybody listening. Keep doing what you're doing. Tread water. Maintain. Keep doing your effort, but bring us alongside of you as a partner to, as you said, Doug, maximize those names that are applying, because if you maximize the names, you're going to staff up. So I'll give you the quick data I talked to this gentleman about, and I think they're going to bring us on. I mean, it was a very encouraging conversation, and he was like everyone else. He's worried about what it costs, and as we've talked about, Doug, this is not that expensive for what people get. It's really crazy. So if you think cost is a factor, just reach out to Doug Larsen, because I'm telling you, you'll be shocked at what you're able to do with not a whole lot of money. And so what I told him is, here's your data now. You're getting 300 a year. You're hiring 25. What if you got 900 a year? That means you would hire 75, right? That's without even messing with the processes and communication and the emails to keep, because he can obviously potentially pick up a lot of that conversion through communication. He's losing over 50% that won't show up for the test. And we talked about his messaging and calling. He's doing a lot of this stuff already. He's doing a great job, but he's losing 50% of the test alone, which we hear a lot. So there are a few things and tweaks you can do to pick that number up. We're going to do a future show on that. But what I said is, listen, don't overthink it. Keep doing what you're doing. You're getting applicants. So go to your job fairs, do the things you're doing, but let us come alongside you, and we'll increase your applications. We'll do all that work. And so I asked him, I said, how many can you handle? And he says, well, I can handle, if I'm bringing in, 20, 30, 40 was a high end on application. If I'm bringing in 40, I said, could you handle 80? And he goes, absolutely. I said, so let's start with that, right? Well, now instead of getting 40 applications, we'll bring you 40 more. You'll get 80. And then you're going to double your academy size right off the bat. And then we work from there. I said, you don't have to bring in more personnel. If you can handle that, then we'll do that. It was a very encouraging conversation, but I really did take out of that, Doug, that I wondered how many people out there listening have kind of just thrown their hands in the air and said, well, this is just the way it is now. And clearly it's not, is it?
No, it's not. And we can certainly help this department out. We'll modernize some of their practices and get them enough names and make them efficient on the back end that, yeah, he can go from 40 to 80 and still keep up and still keep the efficiencies he needs and keep the academies full and get people hired. But this is a common theme, Travis, and we're hearing a lot, and we've got a lot of videos out there, a lot of educational content, and we purposely do that because we want to help departments out. That's our background. That's where we came from. And in law enforcement, we always share information with each other. I think we'll probably never get away from that. But we've got some great calls this week too, even where people have watched those videos and said, hey, thank you for putting that information out, because we were going to spend our money in a less appropriate way and less effective way until we went through some of your video series and watched some of your videos. And then we now understand the better priority for spending that money. And so it's really
Doug,
encouraging.
We've got some, I don't even call them competitors because they don't do what we do. But these large marketing companies or even local marketing companies have, in a sense, we have to battle that. In fact, he was hesitant. I took this guy out to lunch. He was hesitant at first to talk to me because he thought it was just a marketing sales pitch. And when I explained to him of what we did, he immediately said, well, I'm glad you're telling me this because those websites and videos don't work. He knew enough to know that. They had not gone down that road. He goes, and it's crazy money. I said, you're absolutely right. And so he had enough awareness to know that he didn't want to waste his time or money with marketing And he loved the idea of how we bring in the names first and we use marketing secondary, because we do videos on websites, but we use them in a different way that nobody else uses them in. He even said, yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure they want to fix the problems. They want to keep making all this money, right? And so, and you said something, Doug, we are law enforcement. I mean, between you and I, we've got, 50 something years of law enforcement service. Our company as a whole has well over 80 years. We're the only ones in this space with a law enforcement background. So I was able to sit down with this guy and we spoke the exact same language. I knew exactly what he was talking about. He knew exactly what I was talking about. And he caught on immediately, right? It was a great time. I spent about an hour and a half with him. It was a phenomenal conversation, very encouraging for me. And but it did also really, I came across that, Doug, once again with, man, how many people are out there floundering in the wind, trying everything. They're not succeeding and they're just giving up. And my message to you listening is just give us a call. I mean, we will have the same conversation with you. We won't ask for any money. I'll be glad to download whatever we're doing. We'll be glad to offer the training to you. But this can be solved. Our primary goal, Doug, is to staff up agencies. Yeah, making money is great. It is a business. But if we don't staff up our agencies, that's not good for society.
No, that is our number one goal, is to help these departments get fully staffed and do it the right way. And we have it's common themes a lot, right? We're not getting the quality of applicants. We're not getting enough applicants in, and to fill these ranks and even get them through our entire process. And so, yeah, we're here to help. We'll consult with you. I think we're kind of in a niche here. Of course, we probably have competitors out there, but there's a big difference between what marketing companies and we're doing. And, I guess it's a little bit of a pat on the back for us, because I see some of these groups just watching these videos and they seem to be trying to put the same content out like a week or two later. But I mean, that's all right.
I see a couple of guys on social media that are doing little videos and are literally regurgitating what we're saying, which is fine. We're putting the information out because we want to help people, but there, it's like anything. There's a lot of scam artists out there, right? And they're not really scam artists. They are providing a service, but it's just not a service that's fixing this problem.
Yeah, fixing it the most efficient manner and most effective manner, and that's what we want to do. There's a whole set of processes to put in place. And sure, if you're new to recruiting, it's hard to go somewhere and find out what you should do, and maybe doing what the guy before you did, that necessarily isn't right, because times change, generations change, and we will help you with all those best practices. And it may take you out of your comfort zone at first, because there's some different things that need to be done that you weren't aware of, but we'll help map out the whole process, and it makes total sense, and the results are there. And once you get the results for your department, you're the champion, and you look really good internally.
Yeah, Doug Larsen, CEO, Safeguard Recruiting. Reach out to him. It can change everything you thought you knew about police recruiting. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.